For the latest in strategic affairs, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the bell icon for updates.
Hello and welcome. I'm Nitin Gokhale. Today, I'm going to talk to Lieutenant General Raj Shukla, the Army Commander, Army Training Command, and someone who has re-energized the whole training establishments in the Indian Army and brought in a new vigor to doctrines, concepts, and making the Army future-ready by introducing new concepts, new methods, and also interacting with the academia, industry, and practitioners, fusing civil military talents and bringing the Indian Army forcefully into the 21st century, the third decade of the 21st century. Someone who has actually brought a new thinking in the way the Indian Army trains and is training for the future. General Raj Shukla, thank you very much for your time and welcome to this program.
Great pleasure, Nitin. Thank you.
So, you've, in formulating the concepts and doctrines for the Army, what are the new features that you have brought in as a modern Army that we want to see in the third decade of the 21st century?
It is my observation that national security today is in a great state of flux, which means that while there are challenges, there are also huge opportunities, and it is a time of excitement. Mm-hmm. So in that context, when we were looking at doctrines and futures, the mandate of ARTRAC goes far beyond training. And it is also important that the doctrinal linkages are right, because that will set the tone and tenor for training and operations.
Right.
So I would say that ARTRAC over a period of time has developed as a center for ideation for the Indian Army, which is hugely critical.
True.
So we've been looking at a couple of things over the recent past. One is strategic military futures, because unless you get the strategic context right, the leveraging of military power will not be, shall I say, synchronous. So we've been looking at that. We're looking at what are the doctrinal changes, evolution required. So we've been looking at concepts like MDO. What do they actually mean?
Right.
This transition to digital combat. We were once a technology laggard, I would say, but I think over the last 3 to 4 years, the thrust given by the Chief, the Honorable Raksha Mantri, and of course ARTRAC has taken it forward. I would say we have, today, we are pretty okay as far as technology is concerned. You would have also noticed that strategic military competition is being expressed through the medium of technology.
There is.
So it's extremely important. So we've taken a look at technology. There are other mega trends in national security. For example, civil-military fusion, and we'll be talking about it later. It is a critical tool for asymmetric balancing. When the budgets don't match, if you can fuse civil-military talents.
True.
We've looked at our strategic outlook. There is a document going to come out shortly of 75 stratagems. And that basically looks at our civilizational strengths and what I would call later day deficits. So why shouldn't we correct that?
True.
So all these ideas, we've taken a deep look at AI and the future of power. We've taken a look at China as a strategic military challenge.
Right.
We've also seen what is happening on our western horizons.
Right.
The IOR, it may not have an immediate impact, but today we are joint, we are tri-service. So all these issues, these ideational pursuits have been, shall I say, pursued with some ambition and intellectual rigor. And as I said, we've roadmapped our technological evolution. We've taken a look at MDO. I see the biggest challenge today is how to transit from an industrial era military to a digital era military. And that's a huge challenge.
I think the mindsets are so well entrenched.
Mindsets are so well entrenched. So these are all, challenges we've been looking at.
Right.
We've taken a look at the whole jointness paradigm.
Yeah, I was just going to come to that how are you looking at the jointness?
As I see jointness, once again, there are huge opportunities, there are challenges, and there are consequences. And why do I say consequences? that if you don't act, there are consequences.
Correct.
It is my view that since we refused to get joint in the 80s, 90s,
Yes.
the RMA simply bypassed us. It bypassed us. So there are consequences. Now let me tell you where the debate is and where it should go. Let's start with the phraseologies. See, while we are still talking of jointness, the world has demonstrated integration. See, Gulf War II.
Exactly.
When a Bradley commander could designate an F-35 on 2 targets without going through any laborious process.
Right.
Now that is integration. Since then, it has moved to cross-pollination, which means what? Say the Ministry of Defense should have service officers, career bureaucrats, they should be domain specialists, they should be technologists, and this is the pattern everywhere else, in the Pentagon and elsewhere.
Yes.
And cross-pollination, why? Because people are acknowledging that today national security is so complex, it is simply beyond the capacity of any one institution, neither the armed forces, nor DRDO, nor ICAD. Everybody has to come together. And today, I mean, why China is doing so well is because it has taken it to a new high in terms of civil-military fusion.
Correct.
So PLA is part of Huawei. Huawei drives 5G. So 5G comes to your borders. And there are many other examples.
Consequences
See,
there.
the lengths that they go to. So I would say the debate has shifted. It is not merely tri-service capacities. And the other thing, I think I just mentioned it, is that, our conversations are transfixed in the industrial era.
True.
So principally, in my view, jointness today is how successfully we make the transition from the industrial era to the digital age.
Exactly.
And what does it mean in practical terms? It means to get your data ecosystem going. See, where we need our digital pipes going so that we can leverage
The
data.
highways,
digital highways.
Yeah, highways. Yeah.
In terms of speed, bandwidth, latency. We need to get a digital backbone of sensors, effectors, deciders.
Yeah, that's true. But also, I think I noticed in this time that you have been at the helm of affairs in ARTRAC that a lot of interaction with the Indian industry, SMEs, startups that you have done, and because you want to also increase the technology threshold of the Indian Army, right? That's what you have done. So, what is the journey like?
So the this technology drive, the credit must go to General Ravne, because that was the first task he gave me of developing a technology roadmap. So what we did was, and as I studied technology, we studied how important technology is. I mean, ARTRAC internally did these studies. So the credit also goes to the officers in my headquarters. And of course, the institutions that we have. 2 things we picked up. One is what I was just telling you, that strategic military competition is being expressed through the medium of technology.
Sure.
So let's say AI. Today, missiles which are fired at you, they are AI enabled.
Correct.
So they correct, 1 million times per second. So the reaction cannot be at the rate of human judgment.
No.
It has to be at the rate of machine learning.
Exactly.
I was reading last week that AI has gotten into air-to-air combat. And AI pilots are beating human pilots with a win record of 99%. See, AI in procurements.
Yes.
Today, modeling has become such a fine art.
Yeah.
But it has become so good that once you finish with your modeling, the trial times are reduced, the induction times are reduced, costs are saved, equipment comes.
Exactly.
So as I think...
So bang for buck happens.
So Patrick Sanders said it's a entirely new system of knowledge and reasoning which you just have to adopt.
Yeah, exactly.
So what we did, we picked up this, made a technology roadmap for all kinds of things like AI, quantum, blockchain, robotics, exoskeletons, and a host of issues.
Right.
And we made this presentation to the chief first, then we made it to the RM. And the ARTRAC R&D budget, which was in the region of 5 to 6 crores, the chief gave me a target of 100 crores. So last year we could reach just about 20-30, but this year we reached 132 crores, which means what? There are startups,
Right.
young entrepreneurs, innovators, service officers who left, IITs, IIMs, who are the direct beneficiaries. We've used our 3 technical institutes, the CME, the MCME, and the MCT. Now I was surprised. I didn't know this. We have 130 technical graduates every year, MTechs.
Yes.
BTechs are in the region of 260. So look at the talent pool. So we have focused them. Some of the brighter minds amongst them, they are doing courses in technology in Cranfield, University of Maryland, University of Greenwich, University of Massac. So a huge initiative has been taken to raise the technology threshold. 19 IPRs have been filed. One, patent has been granted. So this technology roadmap, with funding, we've set up an AI lab in MCT, a quantum lab in MCT. We did this hackathon to spot talent in cyberspace related fields, software, SDRs and all.
So we were talking about the startups and innovators. How has been your experience with them? Are they up to the mark, and are they giving good work?
You see, they have brought a new innovation, energy, enthusiasm, and a new competitive spirit to the defense ecosystem.
Right.
And once we have started placing orders, now I'm very sure, RoboMule.
Yes.
We are making a RoboMule 100-ton carriage, which will follow the soldier along 80 tracks in mountainous terrain.
Right.
And of course, this is in concert with the ADB and the Deputy Chief CND. So you asked Kirti Johar about our logistic drones.
Correct.
All these other things. I was talking of this low-light imaging Delhi startup. So they have done a very good job. There is a lot of enthusiasm, but there is also a challenge. And what is that challenge now? That challenge is, how do defense startups ride on the larger success of startups in the civil field?
Yeah.
Because the civil startups have done even better.
Yeah, the unicorns that we got.
So the defense startups, while they have done well, they can do so much more better.
Right.
And it is also a fact that in defense, I think the gestation periods will be
longer.
Because the understanding takes a bit longer, and developing products is not so easy. But the initial experience with startups is absolutely wonderful. I was talking of this transition to the digital age, jointness, to the modern era. It will not happen without a cultural renaissance.
Absolutely.
Which means you need a new culture of critical thinking, innovation, risk-taking. All right. So we have said we will fund failures.
Which nobody says.
No, but I'm saying it, and we are doing it because we need it.
Correct.
And you just, again, if you see the Western metrics, space today in the US is being powered not by DARPA, but by Elon Musk.
Exactly.
So that is the way forward.
That is the way forward,
so
exactly.
that is this whole, actually civil-military fusion is common sense.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
and they have all to come together, academia, quality research, quality papers.
Exactly.
In India, while the volume of strategic commentary has increased, I cannot say the same thing about quality.
Yeah.
So all this, they have to come together in a solemn, resolute enterprise of national security.
No, absolutely, I agree. And it is absolutely necessary because we have a China challenge.
A good professional, I'll acknowledge that the China challenge is serious.
Yeah.
It is deep. And it is actually the signature geopolitical challenge of our times.
That's true.
We have done a lot of good.
Yes.
So let's say rebalancing.
Yes.
Has done a lot of good. It has sent right messages. It says there will be costs to any adventurism.
Sure.
We've built up forces, we've built up reserves, we've built up firepower, we've built up mech, armor, logistics. We are better positioned in terms of reserves. Much of our emergency procurements in terms of the latest technologies, loiter, ISR and all is getting deployed at the northern borders.
Right.
So at the tactical operational level, I would say that we are okay, we are comfortable.
Correct.
And the adversary has got the message. But it would be unwise not to acknowledge the deeper challenge. And the deeper challenge is that I thought for a long time that the Chinese merely execute well. I will now acknowledge that their ideation is superior.
And also planning.
Now the points that you were making, their great mastery of non-kinetics, grey zone flows from all this.
Exactly.
It cannot come from Clausewitzian thought, which talks of war and peace.
Maneuver and,
now
armor.
These are the issues which we are looking at. This whole grey zone, this hypothetical space between war and peace. See what the Chinese have done. In the South China Sea, they have altered geostrategic realities without firing a shot.
Yeah.
Second island chain, first island chain, gone.
Absolutely.
Now, this is something we have studied over the last 2 to 3 years. We also can think as well, and that is what we are attempting to do.
Correct.
So, the sum and substances that rebalancing on the northern borders is fine.
Right.
We are doing it, but this larger thinking. And I'll tell you one more problem. The problem with the Chinese, the threat is, the Chinese challenge is that of course it's along the northern borders. It's also coming from the seas.
Yeah.
Look at their eastern maritime flank, western maritime flank.
Absolutely.
And the thing for us to see now is that it is high time we turn to the seas.
Right.
It may just get too late.
Yeah.
It may just get too late. Now, that is what makes the Chinese challenge so complex. It is not that it cannot be addressed,
Yes.
but it will take, all these measures
Yes.
in terms of strategic thinking, capacity building, coming together of various levers of power.
True.
The Chinese are all about whole of government, beyond whole of government.
Exactly.
So other levers of power,
Yeah.
diplomacy, everything coming together. So I would say that the China, in all honesty, China challenge is deep, but it can certainly be met.
Thank you very much, Raj.
Thanks a
Thanks
lot.
for your
Thank
time
you.
and such a lovely insight
Thank you.
into what you're doing.
Thank you,
Thanks a
Nitin.
lot.
Thank you.
So that was Lieutenant General Raj Shukla talking to us. So you know where to reach us. Please send us feedback on our YouTube channel as well as on our website. You know our social media handles. And of course, we value your feedback. Do write back to us and let us know what new topics we can discuss on this program. Defense, foreign policy, security, strategic affairs, and more constitutes national security. Understanding various aspects of this vital part of governance is something that is not easy. I'm going to try and simplify it for you in a capsule of 4 lectures live starting 6th February 2022. Join me every Sunday and understand and satisfy your curiosity about these subjects. I'm Nitin Gokhale.